Good morning, good morning. Just give it a quick second, let things load in here. Happy Monday. Hope everybody had a good weekend. TikTok, I started a little later today, so I'm giving you guys a second to pile in, and we'll get started here, guys. It's going to be an awesome day. I love trading Mondays because there's just so much movement as they try to fake things out. But I did go through the charts a little bit this morning, so I have a head start. I did put that out in the room as well for the market insight. So let's go ahead and get going. Guys, if you're new to the channel, I'm going to cover about 15 minutes of TA. 15 minutes we'll jump into the ATA for the copy trading. ATA is Automated Trading Assistant, which is what we do in our community. So let's talk a little bit about the SPY, kind of where we're at, where I think we're going to go, how I plan to trade my range. If you want to follow along with the charts, you can. So like you guys always know, I like to follow with finding kind of my upper channel and my lower channel, and then I trade in between that, right? So if you take the peak here from Thursday the 15th, and you write it all the way down, right, you can see that it lines up almost perfectly with this, right, which would have caught that drop here, right, because it just literally lined up perfect. If you come down here, we didn't quite make it there. We fell down, and then we bounced off of this area here, right, on this is Monday about 4 in the morning, and we're starting to see a nice, push north from that. So if you pull this line back, you can see we had a hit there, we had almost a hit here, and we had a hit here, right? So that's kind of where that support found. So it does give us kind of a little bit of a falling wedge, right, on our 2 minutes. So it's going to be an important range to watch because we could see as high as 434.50, and then if we break above this, right, it's going to explode north. Probably in a pretty big way. I'd say as high as probably 436 today or tomorrow. Now, however, if we look at the chart, so this is going to be pretty much the block today is going to be in here, right? And so, we could easily come up like this, push north, and that could be our fake out Monday, right? And then we could have one more oscillation that drops us all the way back down to 431. So play the range, trust the indicators. That is the range that I am going to play, though. So if you go to a 1 hour, this other white line that I drew, it's basically just these peaks right here. If you kind of line it up with this peak on the Thursday, December 1st of 2022, you can see it kind of hits right in there. Let me zoom in on this thing here. We could probably bring it up just a little bit on that one to kind of true it up. So let's just move this just a little bit like that. Let's see where that, okay. Yeah, we're right on the peak now. So, and when we come back into the 2 minute, you can see that this is that line, right? And you can see that there is times that it hit it right here for resistance, for try to hold as support. So it's possible viable, right? Keep in mind, on the 2 minute, we are still showing bearish gap fill needed. Now keep in mind, this is going to be the shorter time frame, right? So the gap fill is determined by this right here, this little channel that follows. We did break above the 200 on the 2 minute, and you can see that's causing it to push north, right? You can see that break right here. So we did come through. We are pushing heavily north. Now, if you look at a shorter kind of time frame, this is kind of what I'll be boxing in today, is trying to find where this peak is, right? Where are we actually going to hit our top? So wherever this one breaks off of, that will probably be my 2 point that I'll use. We do have somewhat of a possible bear flag forming here because you got your fall, and then we're kind of parallel channeling up, right? So from a more localized channel from the after hours, you can take kind of this bottom here, and you can just pull this up just like this, and you can see it hits the low pretty perfectly. And then if we go to a potential flag, right, you can take this one right here, and it would kind of look something like that, right? So we could see a continued push north about 433.50 or so, right? And then have a rejection, and then that could be potentially the flag that plays out. Now, again, we are, getting that golden cross, right? So just kind of be aware from that. Don't jump into things too soon. But flipping back to the 1 hour, the thing that I did notice doing the TA is we are hitting a very critical area, and I think this is why the bulls are pushing, because when you look at the 200 EMA, this orange line, we are below that. It's actually what it's rejecting on right now, right? So if it can break this above, then it's going to stop the potential death cross. So this line above here is the 21 SMA, which is coming down really close to that 200, right? So if we get that death cross and it holds as resistance, it's going to likely drop all the way back down to at least 432. Now, this could pull back to that 432, find a higher low somewhere in here, right? And then end up playing out that double bottom. So just be really careful. It's in a very interesting position, which is not the best place to be for Mondays, because it could be those fake outs, right? We could have a market open, pull down, hit a double bottom, and then shoot up, locking all those contracts. We could have, an explosion all the way as high up into here, 434, right, and then have just an absolute straight fall. So the only thing that I will say, is on the 1 hour, we're continuing to get some slight bullish divergence here, as far as up to here. Now, if you look at this level here, it is a little bit lower, so it's not real strong, and you notice it's not really calling it as strong bullish divergence, so I'm not sure how well that will play into it. But that's kind of the scalp levels that we'll be playing on the SPY today. So looking at the Dixie, let's open that. Let's start off with the 1 hour. So you can kind of see on the 1 hour, we had our rejection here. This is what we talked about. This was like, I don't know, a little over 3 weeks ago. We've just been continuing to follow that rejection. You can kind of see actually from here, right? You have this lower trend line like that, and it didn't even quite make it to it. It already starting to reject. Now this is trying to double bottom here. You do have a kind of an equal low, but it's slightly lower, and it already kind of broke through this neckline. So I'm not sure how well that's going to actually play out, and it's breaking below those EMA as well. So I would say for the Dixie, it's probably going to pull back a little bit more and then get into this range here, and this would be where it's going to try to find some support for this squeeze. If it can break this, this trend line down, then we'll see a nice burst up to about 103. Otherwise, it's going to basically pull down into this 101 range. Now, the thing is if you look at it Friday, we did create a higher high from here. So we do have a lower low, but we also have a higher high, right? So this next oscillation is going to be big, because if we do find a higher low somewhere in here, right, and then we'll have a better opportunity to come up for that higher high. So tech stocks, I'm not going to jump too much on. If you guys want tech stocks, there's so many of these that I could do, but I have only 30 minutes. So if you guys want tech stocks, if you want to, like TikTok, I'm not looking at your comments right now. So if I'm not responding, that's why. I will respond after this is all done in about 20 minutes. But I always go back to TikTok and they say Microsoft, Google, Amazon, something. I will do any of the ones that you want. Just all you got to do is sign up at BotJock. You only need an email. It's free. Come in and hang out with us in the morning, and I will chart whatever you want during the 6 hours, 8 hours that we trade together. So, but if you look at just kind of the pre, Apple's just been an absolute beast. I mean, look at how many times it just continues to make higher high. The only thing I will say with Apple is we do have, you can see this kind of divergence that started to play out here on the 1 hour. Didn't quite play out quite yet, so just be aware of that. And then, this one's looking like it's opening up a little bit lower. This is Microsoft, so not like I said, I'm not going into the deep TA. And then Google's opening up a little down, and Amazon's opening up a little up, right? So you got Amazon with a nice little push north here. Most of them ended up pretty up. I think Microsoft had this fall here Friday. It kind of came down, right, aside from the other ones. So like I said, if you want further TA, just come into the room and we'll be happy to do that. So I did draw this scenario on Bitcoin. I'm not extremely convinced that it will work, but it's a possibility. I want you to be aware of, right? So you don't get too excited on when we pump north. So if you take this shoulder, right, you can kind of see it already hit up here, right? So I'm going to adjust it a little bit like that. So we kind of have our pump up, right? If you really zoom out to this thing, remember we've been talking about, the gap that needs to fill. Now, it doesn't mean that we need to come all the way down to here, but we likely are going to at least retest this 200 EMA is my anticipation. So we had our pump up. It's kind of having a little bit of a head and shoulder look here because you have your shoulder, you got your double top right here, creating your head, pulls back, finds a little bit of support, right? Trying to make this second shoulder, which could get as high as 30,600 or so. 500, 600, somewhere in this range because of this wick. And then, if we start to lose that support, right, look for this neckline up here, which is going to be a little bit over 30,000. If that neckline breaks and the POC breaks, right, then it's gonna pull down for this retest of this EMA, which would be around 29.5, 29.6. It's also a retest of this support here. So it's kind of like a neckline break and a retest here. This is where, keep in mind the fake out Mondays, right? We could see this break, but we could find support because this support is likely going to be similar to where this EMA is, the 200, which could possibly cause it to find some support because it has not retested it since all the way down to 25, 26K. So if we can hit this, it's likely to have a pretty decent bounce off of it. Most head and shoulders, what they like to do is they're going to break through, and then you're going to hit that 29.5. You're going to bounce all the way back up to about 30,000. And then if it is a true head and shoulders and it loses steam, then that's when you're going to see the true fall, right? Likely the first stop is this level here, and then it would just continue on. Now, on the first try, unless there's some news to support it, I don't know that I think that this is going to break. So I'm not sure that this part is going to play out. It's more likely, honestly, to do something like this, pump up, hit the double bottom, and then reverse up, right, in that fake out move. So just be really careful. Today, anytime you trade Mondays and Fridays, always have patience and have discipline. Trust your indicators, trust your instincts. So Ethereum, I did point out a bunch of stuff here on Ethereum. You did have a triple top here. But the interesting thing about Ethereum is, although we had our triple touch here, it has not been able to break this lower level. So we are literally just in, what's called the distribution phase, right? So we had our pump up, we're just distributing here. There's really not a falling anything, there's not a rising anything, we're just sideways. And so what that typically is going to mean is, if Bitcoin does fall and it breaks that head and shoulders, Ethereum is going to look a lot weaker than Bitcoin. So it's going to actually collapse this a little bit sooner, which is going to cause that fall to come a little bit further, right? Down to maybe 1770 or so. However, if Bitcoin can break north on that, and it can push Ethereum past this, 1930, that's been just such a tough range, it's likely to shoot almost as high as 2030. So just be aware if you're trading Ethereum. So, for me, if you look back like last week, I think early in the week, I said that it was like mid in the week, it looks like, as we pump up to here, we talked about rejection around 1930, because between 1900 and 1930 is just such a crazy resistance for Ethereum, and it continues to be, and you can see our indicators are calling that, right? So just be really careful playing that range on Ethereum. As far as low for Ethereum, first bounce could be around 1846. It depends on Bitcoin, because this 200 EMA that it has not quite retested, it's going to be really close to this lower range right here. So if Bitcoin breaks through, then it's going to push it. But in the meantime, man, these are just some great oscillations that you can catch. And I'll show you on the ATA, even though we're in a northern push, it's done really well on its shorts. So let's take a look at the ATA. So this is LTC. We are in a short currently. So I'm gonna, just my disclaimer again, guys. Today, the statistics up here, as we made the shift over to KuCoin, right? We put out the copy trade quickly. The volumes on these statistics are not accurate. So the estimated profit is going to be slightly off. So let's not focus on the profit part as much today. We will get that update pushed. But let's just focus on the trades that it actually took, right? So let's take a look at where we started this thing. And you can see, just going back, it's already been an absolute beast. Here's what's impressed me about LTC is we started it here. Look at how I did this. It took a short, closed it, waited for the pump, took a short. Look at this uptrend, and it's still capitalizing on shorts, right? So this always, I love to see this because the code we wrote is very similar to how I trade, how CK trades. And, you know, if I'm going short only, people always say, well, you can't short in an uptrend, or you should, you know, you can, right? I mean, the ATA proves that you can. So even in this uptrend, we've just made some really good shorts. And look at how it has not had to DCA. Even in this uptrend, had not had to DCA. So just absolutely killed it. And then to capitalize even better on the downtrend, this is a really good trade right here. We did have one DCA right there, which is a good DCA. We got right out, and it just shorted the crap out of this thing right here. Non-stop shorts, no DCAs, right? Just absolutely killing it. So LTC short so far, if you've been copy trading, you guys have been killing it. We're DCA levels up here for 1, so we're kind of right in the middle. You know, we're still in pretty good shape for where we're positioned on this short. So I'm not going to touch anything on LTC. We're still 1 DCA. So if you are following along and you're doing your own thing on KuCoin, I'm running short LTC, Parabolic SAR, KuCoin. We have the take profits and 1 DCA. So that's what I'm running. And I'm not going to touch that. I'm still going to hold strong on that because we've definitely pumped up enough level that I think we could go more. More oscillations on the downside. So ETH has also done really well. Again, you know, let's ignore this part because typically the Goliath that I'm running is going to be 1, not 5. So so if you think about that, right, it'd be 1/5 of that. So I made about $100 and that made it. So not too bad. So let's take a look at, so this is where we started Ethereum. Again, a lot of DCAs in here, really good. Did take a short there, did have to DCA 1 time, but we did get out not too soon after. Took some shorts. This one had a DCA again, got out. We're currently in a short with an entry of 1874. So really not too bad. Considering I have not looked at this over the weekend, I never do. We're holding strong. We're doing well, right? So if you've been copy trading, you're doing well. Because we are out, I don't need this DCA anymore, so I'm going to take that second one off. We ended up not needing that, so I just got to go to ETH short, and we'll delete that alert. And we'll make the next alert. So ATA, KuCoin, ETH short. All right. And then sometimes I go too fast. You guys see it on here, right? You always wait for that alert to pop up before you get off this layout because sometimes TradingView is a little bit slow on creating that alert. And if you go off the layout before it creates, then it won't actually create. So, which I have had happen once before. So there we go. So we got our ETH short KuCoin. We're good. So I'm going to go ahead and save that. I'm not going to touch anything else on ETH because we are looking good. Matic. So Matic honestly has been killing it. This is what's funny, guys. We have been doing very well on our shorts, and Matic is still killing it on the longs, right? So it's really cool, and that's why we can play both ranges, right, and still be okay because of the way we've been ranging. So you have a buy right here, took a DCA, took another buy DCA, got out. You know, each blue area is where it took the buy, green's where it took the sell. You got buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell. So we got 1 DCA here. We did not allow a second DCA, so it never triggered, but it still got out, right? So still played it well. We did get a bunch more buys after that, a bunch more DCAs. Now keep in mind, you know, there is some DCAs on Matic down here because we are kind of coming that downtrend, right? So let's, you know, keep that rolling. You can see we're in a long now. Almost made the DCA range, but didn't quite make it. But it's literally at its entry, so nothing to be concerned. Let's just check the settings. We have long, Matic, KuCoin, Parabolic SARs, take profit, only 1 DCA, so we're good. I'm not going to touch Matic because if you go to the 1 hour, if you look at this, right, we do have somewhat. If you take this line here, and you take this line here, right? might not be a bad idea to be careful. I'm gonna watch Matic, guys. If I see this start to push up into this range here again, we may want to consider killing that, right? Because we do have that rising wedge kind of playing out. So I'll do some more TA on that. So if you're copy trading, we'll leave it for now, because if we do drop down, remember, we do have multiple DCAs that we can do. So I'm okay with playing this wedge. But I think that I think we might see, if you look at the smaller one, right, we have a smaller kind of falling wedge, and so we might see that falling wedge break out, which will break us north before we break back down south. So we got some time, no reason to panic on it. Put it back on the 1 minute. We'll save that. There we go. BTC, wouldn't that be nice? Well, if you're running a black box and you're running base volume of 5 BTC, your ATA would have made you $8,800, which is possible if you're running black box, right? Because you can choose your own volume. So we have our close. BTC took it short, did DCA, took another short, a couple shorts through here, did DCA once. We did not allow a second DCA for a while. I did add a second DCA, but I didn't do it super aggressive purposely because I did not want over the weekend to have to watch it, right? So it did not hit that second DCA. It did come back down. It got out. And since then, it took a short. DCA took a short, got out, took a short that we're currently in. And it's not too far, about $70 or so, $80 from our entry. So Bitcoin's looking good. So we don't want a second DCA this one either anymore. I don't like to have a second DCA unless I'm already in a first DCA and I've made that conscious decision to add it. So I'm going to take that back out. So let's just add this alert back. ATA, KuCoin, ETH, no, ETH, what am I doing? BTC short. All right, now let's take a look and see. I do want to add some more pairs here, so let's take a look with the last 8 minutes or so. Let's see where some of this other stuff is. Aave and Sol have done pretty well for us in the past. Sol did really well we ran that thing for like, I think it was like 3 or 4 weeks. So if we look at Sol, we are kind of in the middle range. We do have a long way we can come down, as low as 12.13. I mean, we could get as low as 9, right? I don't think we're going to go that low. I think we have a better chance of getting back up to the 20 range and breaking that range than we do of going down. So because we are running 3 shorts, let's balance it a little bit and let's add a Sol long. So what I'm going to do is, this is the older chart here. So to add the Sol long, all I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to clone this one, because remember we're switching over to KuCoin now. So this will just take me just a second, but I like doing this so that shows you guys how to do it. So when you clone it, it's going to create that layout for KuCoin, right? But you still have to come into here and you have to change that. Currently I've just been using Binance right here. Doesn't really matter as much on that, but so that's going to be our Sol. You can see right now, if we were running the shorts, it would be stuck currently, but not too bad. Let's see, we're going to change this to Sol as well. And let's see how the long would look right now. Yeah, see, the longs would just be killing it. And that's why my gut is, let's go long, right? So all we have to do for that, we have long, Sol, KuCoin, parabolic, touch. We're keeping the take profits the same. 1 DCA. All I have to do is change my closeout. So 26, 8. I mean, literally, that's 53. It's close enough. So we got our yellow closeout. So now we can go ahead and create our alert. I'm just going to come in here. Before I create my alert, let's double check. We have Sol, KuCoin, and Sol. Okay, so we're good. ATA, KuCoin, Sol, long. And let's go. So we'll add that one back on. We're going to let this go today, maybe tomorrow, and then I don't like to run more than 5 or 6, because the reason why is if especially being one directional, right? If we do get a parabolic movement, a news event, something like that, you want to have other pairs you can activate to continue to earn, right, on that direction. So while your other ones are working their way out. So but we don't really have anything stuck in anything. Everything's earning. So, let's go. Now we're pretty balanced. I'm doing the balance purposely also because if we pump up, right, we're making money. If we drop down, we're making money. We do have Powell talking again this week. We got tons of news. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So there could be quite a bit of movement, right, oscillation. So we'll keep a close eye on that. So, but that is all I have, guys, for the ATA. We got about 5 minutes left. I'll see you guys in the room. I will be trading today. So I'll open that room about 9:15 a.m. We'll trade some options. Some of you guys are coming in. You're starting to fund your Tasty Trade account. If you guys have any questions on options trading, come on in. We'll answer that for you guys. I also get the question sometimes that doesn't matter where you trade for options, guys. Options is options. I don't care if you're on Thinkorswim. I don't care if you're on Robinhood. I don't care if you're on Tasty Trade. It doesn't matter. Options is just options, right? Now, if you want opinions or guidance, right, sometimes it's easier to use a brokerage or an exchange if you're brand new that everybody else is using, right? Which right now, primarily, most people are on Tasty Trade. Because then they can help you out, right, a little bit easier. So, but if you already have, a Robinhood account, you already have a Thinkorswim account, by all means use that as well. So, but we can talk more about that. TikTok, sit back. I will answer some questions here shortly, and I appreciate you guys' time. We'll see you in the room soon.